Hello, my name is Michael. The date is October 20th, 2025, and I'm going to teach you how to make almond milk. So, I guess we'll go through the things that you're going to need. You want to have these large mason jars. I think these are 64 ounce. I don't know, they're like the largest mason jars you can get. Yeah, I mean the brand is Ball, so you call them Ball jars, mason jars. I guess they're not actually mason jars because the lids I'm using aren't, you know, the ones used for canning or whatever. But yeah, you probably want to have two of these. This is just my workflow. Yeah, so you want those. You want almonds. Get them from Costco or wherever. You need something to sweeten the almond milk, so this time I'm going to use durian, but you could also use dates, yeah, dried dates, yeah, wait, yeah, sun ripened. I don't think this says dried, but these are dates. You could also try honey. Apricots also work. Another thing you might be interested in using is flax seeds, but use these sparingly because it changes the almond milk. It makes it creamier, but it also makes it more earthy tasting, and too much and it's gonna taste like you're drinking dirt. You also want to have salt and cinnamon. And another optional ingredient you can have is turmeric. And this is another ingredient that when you add it, probably use it sparingly because yeah, it's a little bit goes a long way. And also you're gonna need a blender and something to screen out your almond milk. So this is a cheesecloth. So first thing you want to do is you want to fill up your mason jars with almonds, and you want to fill it up to somewhere between the 1.5 or the 1 and 2 line, so about 1.5 cups of almonds. That's usually what I go for. And then what you got to do is you got to clean the almonds. So I'm going to show you right now how I clean the almonds. Okay, so you got your almonds in your mason jar, and then from here you can just get any source of water, because like I have instant hot water. I mean, I figured hot water probably cleans it better, so I just fill up the mason jar or the ball jar with hot water. And then from there, you shake it up. And then at this point, it's clean, but also the jar is kind of hot. So you could add some colder water into the jar, and then that'll make it easier to strain out. If I tried pouring this out, I might burn myself. So I'm gonna add some water. Actually, I'll go to the fridge and I'll fill this up with some cold water out the fridge. All right, yeah, so I try not to use the tap water because it's not filtered. And I like doing things right. So I try not to use the nasty tap water. And then from here, you take the lid and then you put it on top like that, so you have just enough space to empty out the dirty water, or you could use it to water your plants or something. I'm gonna just drain it out. And then there's your cleaned almonds. And then at this point, I would just fill it up with hot water again. And then you want to fill it above where the almonds are, because at this point we're going to let the almonds soak. So then you would just leave the almonds like that. You would put the lid back on like that, and then you would leave it for like 2 hours or something. But because I want to do a comparison, I'm not gonna let these sit for 2 hours. I'm just gonna make almond milk out of this and then compare that with almonds that have been soaking for about 6 hours. So that's what it looks like after about 6 hours. And then I'll see if there's any difference, because I don't know if it's actually worth having the almonds soak that long. Maybe like all you need to do is just clean them and then make the almond milk out of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and strain these almonds and then these almonds. So the lid with the rubber band is the almonds that have been soaking for about 6 hours, and the other lid does not have a rubber band. So I'm gonna go strain these. I forgot to mention that you also need a pot to put the cheesecloth on top of. So I'm gonna put the cheesecloth on top here and put this to the side like that. I'm gonna put that to the side over here. And then what I'll do is I'm gonna rinse this out because it looks kind of dirty. And then I'm gonna put the almonds in, or I'm gonna put the durian in. So, all right. So now I'm gonna put in what I'm gonna use to sweeten the almond milk. So in this case, it's gonna be these durian things. And yeah, regardless of what you're using to sweeten the almond milk, you want to blend up the sweetener part first, because that's gonna be a lot harder to grind up or like blend up fully if you're blending it in with the almonds. So you want to blend the sweetening element before the almonds. So there's 5 in here, so I'm gonna put 2.5 for this batch and then the second batch. So I'll just go over here. Alright. And from there, I'm gonna save this for later. And then what you want to do from here is you want to put water into the blending, I guess, it's not really a jar, but you know what I mean. Okay, so you got the blending jar thing, and then you want to fill it with water. So this is filtered water. So it doesn't really matter how high the water is. You want to have like a good amount, because we're gonna blend in this. We're gonna blend this and like some other stuff, and then we're gonna add in the almonds, and then we're gonna add in some more water. So all right. Okay, so at this point you want to add in your salt. And I kind of just eyeball everything. And then I'm adding in cinnamon. And then from here, I put the lid on. And then I put my earplugs in because it gets pretty loud. And then from here, you just turn it on, starting on low. And then from here you just keep gradually increasing the speed until it's all blended up. So just gonna show you in real time. You can still see there's some little chunks in here, and this is a good reason why you want to blend up your sweetening element before the almonds, because if there were almonds in here, like blending these little bits up would be really, really hard. So I'm going to keep blending it a little bit more. So now I think it's blended as good as it's gonna be blended. So now we're gonna add in the almonds. So let me get the almonds. So this is the almonds that I've been soaking for about 6 hours. They definitely, I don't know. Yeah, they do take up a little bit more space, I'd say. But actually the almonds that I didn't soak, they seem to have plumped up pretty good already. Alright, so I'm gonna add in the almonds that I've been soaking for 6 hours to this first batch. And then at this point, the jar, it has some bits in it still, like this little piece of almond here. So I'm gonna fill this up with water. And at this point, I'm eyeballing how much water to add, because you don't want it to be too much, because I want to dump all of this water into the blender. So honestly, I know this isn't gonna fill up the blender, so I'm just gonna put this in just to get the rest of the almond bits into the jar or whatever for the blender. So now I'm gonna put in some of this water. So you can either rinse this jar out if you want everything to be perfect, or just set it to the side. I'm gonna go ahead and just fill up the rest of this blender jar can thing with water. Alright, so there it is. It's basically full. And now at this point, I'm just gonna put the lid back on and then start blending it again, starting from the lowest setting and then work my way up. And then now I'm going to pour the contents of this blender into the pot, but you want to make sure that you pour it as soon as you can when it's done mixing, because you don't want to pour it while everything's settled at the bottom. That's just a personal preference. So yeah, I'm gonna pour this stuff in. All right, so let's say still mixing. And turn it off. And just pour it in. Now at this point you can either strain this out and you'll have 1 jar of almond milk, but while I'm letting this, or while I'm squeezing out the almond milk out of this cheesecloth, I'm gonna go and make the second batch, just because it probably is faster that way. So here's the rest of the durian, and then might as well, yeah, I'll just add in the water now. All right, second batch. Filling it up with some water. All right, it's filled up. Filled up, not all the way, but filled up just enough. Now I'm gonna add in the salt. And then the cinnamon. And then because I'm only making 2 batches, I'm gonna go put these away. Now I'm gonna put the lid back on and then blend it up. already know what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna do the same thing, but yeah, maybe it doesn't really matter. So maybe we'll just, I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. All right, so this is blended up. Now I'm just gonna add in the rest of the almonds for the second batch. And I'm gonna fill this up with some water. Now I'm gonna get rid of all the rest of the almond bits from this jar. Okay, now I'm gonna fill this up to the top. All right, so now I'm gonna blend this up, and then while it's being blended up, if I wasn't recording, I'd be just probably straining out the almond milk in the pot. But you know, it's just kind of weird if, you know, not that I'm recording now, usually I'm not, so it's kind of messing with my flow, but yeah, I'm just gonna blend this up now. Okay, now I'm going to strain out the almond milk in the pot. Okay, so before I start straining, I like to wash my hands again, just because I like clean hands and clean food. And like, I don't even dry off my hands on the towel, because the towel's pretty dirty, right? Like, I know people use it to dry off their clean hands, but you know, cumulatively, like, the towel is probably pretty dirty. And I know I just touched my phone, but you know, I'm recording and I'll make an exception for that. And it probably doesn't matter, but yeah, I just shake off my hands, and then from there, I just grab the four corners of the cheesecloth, and then sort of develop this technique where you first squeeze out all the foam, and then yeah, then you just squeeze it. You start kneading the almond, I guess it's not really dough, but yeah, because I use durian, it makes it harder to strain out the almond milk. If I was using dates or honey, I'd say honey is probably the sweetener that makes it easiest to strain out your almond milk, just because there's no fiber. But with the durian, it's definitely a lot harder to strain out compared to having made almond milk with dates. And by the way, if you're using dates, I usually have 3 dates, or maybe it was 5, 3 to 5 dates if I'm making one batch of almond milk. And then if I'm using apricots, yeah, 2 to 5 dried apricots. It's personal preference, and like you just experiment with what works, with what you like. You could try making almond milk without salt, and then that you could definitely taste a difference if the almond milk has salt or no salt or low salt. So I'm gonna be just straining this for quite a while now, and then, like I said, it takes longer if you use durian to make the almond milk. takes longer to strain it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward. So I'm almost done straining out the almond milk. I probably should have added more water, because usually I'll stop straining the almond milk once I'm at the 2-liter mark on this pot. Forgot to mention, your pot should probably, it's easier when your pot has the volume markings, just so you're consistent every time you make almond milk. But I'm definitely below, a lot lower than I usually am with the 2 liters. But I mean, I could probably still keep going at this for, I don't know, 5 more minutes. Like, I'm getting a lot of almond milk. I could keep working on this, but you know, like that idiom goes, like, is the juice worth the squeeze? And I don't know, it's kind of fun. But looks like we're reaching the end of the squeeze being, or we're reaching the end of the juice being worth the squeeze. So from here, I forgot to mention, you probably want to have something to put your almond pulp into once you're done straining out your almond milk. Okay, so I'm gonna get that thing. Okay, so that thing for me is this KitchenAid mixer bowl. So I'm just gonna put the almond pulp into it. I mean, you could also just put this into the jar, but whatever, I'll just finish this. All right, and then you want to make sure that the almond side doesn't really, you know, keep the almonds on one side of the cheesecloth. Otherwise, if you get some on the other side, or you reverse it, then you're gonna have some almond bits in the following batch. All right, but now I'm gonna go ahead and pour this into the mason jar. I usually just do it like this. And lid on the jar. This is the lid with the rubber band. So these are the this is the almond milk I made with the almonds that were soaking for about 6 hours. And then now I'm gonna just put this in the fridge. Okay, now we are ready to strain out the second batch. So here's the almond pulp. Then I'm gonna take the same cheesecloth with the same orientation, so that the almond bits from the previous strain are still on top. So it looks like that. And then this is what it looks like when your almond milk's been blended up, but you just let it sit. So I'm gonna blend this up for a couple seconds just to get everything mixed up again, and then I'm gonna pour it in here. I washed my hands again, by the way. then from here, you can start straining your almond milk. But I'm a little OCD, so I'm gonna go wash my hands again. All right. Yeah, so now I'm just gonna strain out the second batch. And the reason why I felt like washing my hands again was just because it's like I was touching the blender, and the blender's been outside for a while. I haven't made almond milk in several weeks, just because I actually got sick of drinking almond milk because I was making almond milk so often. This almond milk is the best tasting almond milk that I've ever tried, but yeah, after making it for so long and drinking so much of it, I just got sick of how it tasted. But it's been several weeks since I've done this, and so like now I kind of have that craving again. But yeah, this is definitely better than any store-bought almond milk. You know exactly what goes into it. It's fairly economical, I think. I mean, you can't really put a price tag on having the healthiest kind of food. And usually homemade is a lot healthier than whatever they're selling in the stores. Also, it is a pretty good forearm workout. It definitely, like not even joking, it definitely helps with grip strength. Yeah. So what to do with the almond pulp? I've tried making pizza dough out of it, and that's why I have so much flax seeds, because I heard that you can use the flax seeds to make pizza dough with the almond pulp, but I haven't been very successful with that, and yeah, I just don't really have the time to experiment right now. So what I'll do with the almond pulp now is I have a worm bin, and so I'll just throw in the almond pulp, and the worms will turn it into compost in a couple weeks, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, and you got to be careful with, like, sometimes if you're squeezing it a certain way, it'll like squirt out. And usually I have the pot turned the other way so I can see the markings, the volume marking on the other side, so that way I don't have to do that. But yeah, so this batch has slightly more almond milk than the first batch, so it'll fill the jar up more fully. And oh, I don't think I ever cut any time out of me straining the second batch, so now you kind of see how long it really takes to strain out a single jar of almond milk. By the way, usually when I'm like not recording, I'll have like my bone conductive headphones, just playing something. But I'm using my phone to record right now, so I can't really listen to anything except just me talking to myself. But yeah, making almond milk is pretty cool because like you can just experiment. You know, one variable at a time, just so you can see how it changes, and then you get a feel, or you get a sense of like how changing the ingredients affects the almond milk. And it's pretty hard to mess up. Like, I think if you don't wash the almonds and you just let them soak, it's gonna taste weird. Because I think the almonds have some sort of, there's something on it that you do have to clean it. I think I did A/B test it before, where like if you don't wash the almonds, then it definitely tastes weird. But for this time, the only thing we're A/B testing is if soaking the almonds does anything. So I think we're done there. So I'm gonna go ahead and I can just put this over here. That way. I can pour the second batch now. It's pretty cool. Alright. Now I'm gonna put this in the fridge. Be right back. Okay, so now is basically cleanup time. I'm just chilling the almond milk that I just made for a little bit, and then I'll do the A/B test later. So I'm just gonna pour in the rest of this almond pulp into this KitchenAid mixing bowl. So there's that, and then I get a little taster here. Tastes good. Okay, so here's all the almond pulp. I'm gonna throw this in the worm compost bin, and then from here I'm gonna go and wash these. I should have mentioned before, but you want to make sure or try to disinfect the cheesecloth. So the way you wash it is, well, you rinse this out to wash it, and then you put in the hot water, and then you just, I feel like the instant hot water is hot enough, and then I just like rinse it around and strain this out, or not strain this out, but dry it out, squeeze out the water, bring it out. So yeah, I'm gonna do that now. Yep. So I'm just cleaning out all the almond bits out of the cheesecloth. Squeezing out the water from the cheesecloth. And at this point, I think the cheesecloth is clean in terms of not having any almond bits in it. It's clean enough, so now I'm just going to put in the instant hot water. So, anyway, I'm kind of cleaning it. Yeah, so I think the textbook way that you're supposed to do it is you put in the hot water and then put a lid on it and then you boil it, but that just takes way too much time for me. And I feel like the hot water that comes out of this is like, it's good enough to clean this. So I could probably do a second round of that because the water's still murky. So I'm just gonna get out all of the creases and whatnot and just try to get as much of it in the hot water. And I'm just gonna let this sit for a little bit, and then I'm gonna go clean the blender. Alright, so yeah, actually I need this space, so I'm gonna finish cleaning this stuff up. Maybe I probably should have cleaned the blender first, because I do use the blender to like dry the cheesecloth. So we're just gonna have to power through background noise. So I'm gonna clean the blender, and it's not really sanded. Well, it's clean enough for me, so I'll just rinse it out. So I'll fill it with some water. Maybe I'll actually just fill it with some hot water. Alright, and then I'll just put this on top of the blender base and then turn it on just to clean it or something. Alright, hot water's in here. Alright, now I'm just gonna pour this out. Alright, so this is clean enough. And then at this point, I'll just leave this to the side over here. And then I'll get the cheesecloth. And I'll just wring it out. The water's still a little cloudy, but anyway, again, is the juice worth the squeeze at this point? I think the cheesecloth is clean enough. And then I'll just take this and then, open it up like that, or just do something like that. And then I'll just lay it on top of the blender and it'll dry like that. And then once it's dry, I'll just put it back into the blender base, or not the base, the jar or whatever. And then I'll put the lid back on, and then that's basically how I store it. Okay, so here I have these two little glass things that I have frozen, so that when I pour in the almond milk, it'll be a little closer to how I would normally be drinking them, because I just made these, so they're not fully chilled. But this is the almond milk that was made with the almonds that were soaked for 6 hours. And then here is the almond milk, where all I really did was just clean the almonds and then make almond milk out of it. So, alright, I'm gonna clean this up. Okay, so this is the almond milk that was just cleaned, and then this is the almond milk. This is the almonds that they were only cleaned, and then these are the almonds that were cleaned and were soaking for 6 hours. So let's do the ones where there was no soaking. Putting these cups in the freezers did nothing. It's still pretty warm. Okay, I mean, it tastes like durian almond milk. I'm used to it. And then this is the one with the almonds that were soaked. Okay. Maybe I should get some water to like cleanse the palate. So I think I actually do taste a difference. Okay. There is a difference, but you know, it may be so small that like it probably, I don't know, that's because also I didn't really test how much cinnamon or salt I put into each batch, so those are two variables I actually didn't, I just eyeballed, so maybe that's the difference, but there's a difference. I feel like I did put about the same amount of salt and cinnamon into both batches. I feel like so the almonds that were soaked for 6 hours, it's like it's not as full. Like the almonds that were just washed and then I made almond milk out of it, it tastes like there's more fullness in the flavor, but that doesn't necessarily mean that soaking the soaked almonds taste worse. It's just, I feel like with the almonds that were soaked, the flavor is more, there's more space. Like it's in a sense that it's like maybe more fresh tasting. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know, honestly, the results are inconclusive. They taste slightly different. They both have that durian, that hint of durian, but like the almonds that were just cleaned, not soaked, it tastes fattier for some reason. Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know if there is a difference in soaking the almonds for 6 versus 0 hours. They both taste good. I don't know. Well, yeah, that kind of concludes this video about almond milk. And this is the trick to getting the last drop out of whatever drink you're drinking. You can just put water in it, you know, swirl it around. And now you wasted less almond milk, I guess. All right, thanks for watching.